Between 1933 and 1941, around 20,000 Jewish refugees, primarily from Germany and Austria, traveled to Shanghai, China. During this time, Shanghai's international settlement had few immigration restrictions, making it one of the only places in the world offering refuge to Jews escaping the Holocaust. One of those individuals was a young Rudy Oppenheim, who arrived with his family. Though conditions were extremely difficult and would become much harsher once Japanese forces occupied Shanghai in 1941, refugees sought to rebuild their lives. In this first-person flashback, Rudy Oppenheim shares what it was like living as a Jewish refugee in Shanghai.
Was there like a large Jewish ghetto area of the city? Was there a Jewish quarter, so to speak, in Shanghai? What was it like when you got there?
There was a Jewish community already in Shanghai, and they bought old school buildings and old hospitals in a burned out section of Shanghai called Hongkou, now called Hongkou. Hongkou was a very dirty, barbed out area and old schools, and so people, as they came off their boat, now picture this, coming off a boat of a luxury liner, and they loaded people onto 2.5-ton trucks. On 2.5-ton trucks, they were ferried through the section of Shanghai. I never forget that, standing there, people looking up and seeing these strange people looking down and seeing strange people. And they were put into these hospitals and put into the homes. 24 people to a room, 5 bunks high, but there was no killing, and you were fed. You stood in line for food. And that. It was a very traumatic experience for the older generations.
This image we're seeing here.
Yeah.
Your family opens a restaurant?
Yes.
Talk to the kids about what this is and what life was like.
Well, we couldn't afford to eat in our own restaurant, but 3 families got together and they rented this house of a doctor. They couldn't really afford any wood or coal for the fires, so they burned old furniture, teakwood furniture. The women did the cooking and the men did the waitering, but they were so destitute they could not afford to eat in their own restaurant. So the children went to the homes to pick up the food so that they could have the restaurant.
How many people are we talking are living in this quarter, this section of Shanghai? Was it?
At that time, were about 20,000. It was an area of a few miles square, and within a year, well, remember, it was all burned out area, they had opened up restaurants, they had opened up museums, schools. It was fantastic. It was so much so that the Chinese people in that area, the grocery people, learned to speak German. And it was a time when the German Jews came there. There were about, how should I say it, an escalation in money. When we got there, 6 Chinese dollars represented 1 American dollar. When we left after 2 years, 2 million Chinese dollars equaled $1. So when you went shopping, you took a suitcase of money that was overprinted.
So there was rampant inflation.
Rampant inflation.
Hugely high prices.
Yeah.
You mentioned school. We've got a picture. I believe you provided us a picture of you and your school buddies, if I recall correctly,
Yes.
from the Shanghai school that the kids will have a chance to see now. And
I'm third from the left in the front.
third from the left on the front row.
Right.
And all these kids are basically the same age. And
Yes.
And was it like, obviously it wasn't like going to school back home probably, but was it like 9 to 5 school day? Or?
Oh yeah, it was a regular school, and it was an English-speaking school. It was sponsored by the family Kadoorie and Sassoon. The Sassoon and Kadoorie families were very wealthy people who had come from Iran, and they were And they actually furnished the school and also the lunches.
And we have another image that I think is very interesting of your address book that you shared with me, which gives, this was kind of like a register of who lived in the neighborhood, so to speak?
Right. And it contained all the people who came from Europe, from Germany, and it said immigrant address book, immigrant address book. And it gave the head of the household and where they came from.
Your family, though, chooses not to stay in Shanghai.
Well, no, nobody wanted to stay in Shanghai.
But a lot of people were forced to during the duration of the war.
Once the war broke out, and we were lucky. Our visa was applied for in Germany before we left. Remember, there was a 2-year waiting period. So in that 2-year waiting period, our visa came through, and we were very fortunate so that we could leave. Most of my friends in that picture had to stay 7, 8 years.
And I would assume conditions just got continually worse for them.
It got much, much worse. Once the war broke out, there was no financial aid from the United States. So people, my aunt and uncle, who stayed that whole time in Shanghai, actually suffered quite a bit.